In this short video, I'm going to explain how Part D works, and I'm going to explain how a person gets into the donut hole. Now, there are two different ways to get your Part D drug coverage. One would be as a standalone Part D plan, and that would be if you're going to use your Medicare card, you might get a supplement, and then you would pay for a standalone Part D plan. Or you can get Part D as part of a Medicare Advantage plan, since most Medicare Advantage plans include Part D. Even zero premium Medicare Advantage plans include Part D. Part D is voluntary. You don't absolutely have to sign up for it, but there is a late enrollment penalty. It's kind of a complicated calculation, but if you wait 5 years because you're very healthy, you don't take any expensive prescriptions, but suddenly you are diagnosed with, let's say, diabetes. Now you have an expensive drug and you want to sign up for Part D. You're going to pay, after 5 years, it might be $20 will be your penalty every month for every year that you have Part D. Part D plans have premiums, as I said, but they also have copays. So right now there are two tiers of generics. There used to be just one tier of generics, but now they've gone to two tiers. Tier 1 generic copay on one plan might be $0, or on another plan it might be $4. Tier 2 generics, the copay might be $8, or on another plan it might be $15. Then there is Tier 3 or preferred brands, and then non-preferred brands. I like to say they would prefer that you not take this brand drug, and that's why they charge you a very high copay. And then there are specialty drugs. Specialty drugs might be pills that you take for cancer treatment. And don't be surprised if you go to the pharmacy to fill your prescription for that cancer pill, and you're told that your copay will be $1,000. And that means that the drug actually costs, for 1 month's supply, $3,000. Now, when it comes to Medicare Advantage, you really have to pay attention to what your copays will be for Part D. Because I have seen in Arizona, I have seen Lantus, which is a type of insulin. One plan charges nothing for that Lantus. Now, this is a plan for people with diabetes. Another plan will charge people $10 for their 1 month supply of their insulin. And yet another plan will charge $45. $45 is probably actually more common. Now, Novolin is a more expensive type of insulin, and I've seen a copay of $35 on one Medicare Advantage plan and $95 on another plan. So you really have to carefully look at what your prescriptions are going to cost if you're considering enrolling in a Medicare Advantage plan. Part D plans have rules. Some drugs are quantity limited. These tend to be addictive drugs. One plan might allow you 60 pills a month. Another plan might allow you 120 pills a month. Some drugs require step therapy. These tend to be more expensive drugs, the brand drugs, where if a doctor prescribes an expensive brand drug, the plan will say, well, have you tried the generic for that drug? We'd prefer that you take the generic. You need to try it. And then, if that doesn't work for you, you can step up to a more expensive drug. If that doesn't work, you can step up to yet another more expensive drug. But you must go through the step therapy. There are formulary exceptions that can be requested. The formulary is the list of drugs covered by a plan, and sometimes a person might be prescribed a drug in the middle of the year that is not covered by their plan. If it's not covered by their plan, the plan just can't say, well, sorry, you can't have it. They'll make an exception. Now I'm going to explain how a person gets into the donut hole. It's kind of complicated, so I like to do it visually. In this case, I'm using an example of a person who takes Lantus, some insulin, and then another relatively expensive drug, Advair, which is an inhaler. These are Tier 3 drugs or preferred brand, and their copay is $45 on this person's Part D plan. So the person is paying $45, but the Part D plan is going to be paying $200 for the Lantus and $200 for Advair. So each month this person will spend $90, but the plan will pay $400 for his prescriptions, and the total cost will be $490 per month. Now this is what's important, this last column, because this running total is what gets a person to the donut hole. So that goes on throughout the year. The person is paying $90, and through June the person would have paid $540. Not too bad. But in July everything changes, and that is because the person has gone over that limit of $2,970, and that gets the person into the donut hole. So what happens next? Well, you can see the Part D plan is no longer paying anything towards that person's prescriptions. And that person is now taking on the full cost of his drug costs. So that goes on through the rest of the year. But there is some relief, because people with brand drugs, when they go into the donut hole, they now get a 50% discount on the brand drug price. I think this year in 2013 is actually 56%. But it's easier to divide 490 by 2 to show that this person is going to pay $245 for his prescriptions rather than the full cost of $490. Now, if this person had even more expensive drugs, and if his costs, which would be this left-hand column, if his costs total $4,750, now he would go into the catastrophic stage, and he would pay only $6.60 for his prescriptions. So let's step back to the previous screen, where up in July, this person is responsible for the $490. But remember, I said he's only going to pay $245, or even a little less than the $245. But he's going to get credit for that $490, getting him towards the catastrophic coverage stage. So this is the column that is important when it comes to your out-of-pocket costs and what gets you to the catastrophic stage. Now, this person is not getting there, so he will never come out of the donut hole. And of course, everything will start again in January. So if he had more expensive prescriptions and his out-of-pocket costs, this left-hand column, were to total up to $4,750, he would be in the catastrophic stage, paying $6.60 for his prescriptions. Whew. So that is how a person goes into the donut hole. So Part D is kind of complicated, and this is why working with an insurance broker, an independent insurance broker, might be very helpful to you. I represent most of the Advantage plans in Arizona, and I represent several Part D plans. But this actually brings me to a very important point, and that is that many insurance agents only represent a couple of Part D plans, and they might just sign you up for one of those plans that they represent, even if the plan is not really the best one for you. So on a number of occasions, I have told people to sign up for plans I don't represent. After looking at Medicare.gov, I've said, well, this one is clearly so much better than the ones I represent because of the prescriptions you take. You should sign up for this plan. So that's pretty important. So if you'd like my help, give me a call or send me an email. And I'd be happy to help you pick a Part D plan, whether it's part of a Medicare Advantage plan or in addition to a Medicare supplement. So I look forward to talking to you, and thank you very much for listening.